Hey guys, this is Shane Stevens with Remax Heritage, your Director of Development. Again, on this video, for this video, we're going to go over the exclusive buyer agency contract. So if you're sitting with your buyer and you need to go over this agreement. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Share, I'll click over to Dotloop. All right, so you'll see at the top here, exclusive buyer agency contract. At the beginning, I always say all contracts are made between my office, Remax Heritage, and the client. So you'll see here, and for this example, I'm going to put your buyer, and in parentheses, after the buyer's name, you're going to put their marital status. So if they're if they are married, then you're going to put, I don't know why I can't type. If they're married, you'll put AMC. If they're a single person, they're not married, you'll put ASP. Okay? So just so you know, that's what we're going to put. And then the contract's made between your buyer and Remax Heritage. And I always put it that way. It just looks clean. For the sake of this example, we're going to do residential. So if they're just buying a house to live in, but just so you know, if they were a investor looking to purchase a duplex, fourplex, quadplex, whatever, if they're looking to purchase property to make money on it, you would click the income box. If they are looking for land to potentially build on in the future, to hunt on, just in general, they're buying land only, you'll click vacant land. Commercial, if they're looking to, buy a property to run a business in, then you're going to look for commercial. You click that box. So, for the sake of this example, say they're looking at Independence or Blue Springs, but whatever city your client's looking in, that's where you're going to put. If there's a couple cities they're looking in, just put a couple. You don't need like to fill up the whole line, but at least put two or three that they're looking in if they're looking in a big area. So, say my client's looking up to 250. In that case, I usually would put 150 to 250. But I want to reiterate, if whatever their top dollar is, if their top of their budget's 400, if it's 250, if it's 300, whatever their top is, put that number. Do not put above that number. You want them to know that you have their best interest in mind. You're not trying to squeeze their budget. Because the biggest thing is when you're with your client and you know their top dollar, don't send them any properties over that. Let them know that, hey, I want you guys to be comfortable with your payment after you end the home and you close. I want you guys to be comfortable. I always do my contracts for 6 months, and today is February 5th of 2025. So I'm going to click February 5th, and I'm going to do mine for 6 months. So that'd be August 5th is what we're running through. Click that. I always say that we can always cancel this if your situation changes. I'm not a jerk. We can cancel this if needed. But the goal is to find you a home in the next 6 months. We can always do an extension. We can always extend this. There's a form called the change or revision of buyer's agency contract that we can always extend this. So no worries on that. Line 21 is very important to say. The buyer agrees to enter into a written agreement before touring any properties with the broker. So, as of August 17th, 2024, from the National Association of Realtors, there was a new rule that we have to have a written agreement. So, a buyer's agency agreement in place with buyers prior to showing them any homes. There's no way around it. It could be your sister, it could be your dad. You have to have a buyer's agency agreement in place. It could be your spouse, whatever. Doesn't matter who it is. You have to have this signed prior to showing them any houses to cover yourself. Also, skipping down to line 22, buyer warrants that you're not under another one of these agreements. So you're not under another buyer's agency contract with another real estate professional. Also, buyer shall attempt to get a real written loan pre-approval and disclose to buyer. You're letting me know where you're at. Are you pre-approved? If not, let's get you in touch with a local lender or your bank to get you pre-approved. Pretty much most of my clients, anytime I get a lead for a buyer, if it's a referral, whatever, an online lead, the first recommendation I make is getting them in touch with a lender because number one, I want them to know again what their comfortability is, what their price range is. Number two, I want to make sure that they can get pre-approved because I don't want to spend a lot of time driving around somebody, even if they sign with me, sign this agreement with me. If they can't get pre-approved, I don't want to invest a ton of time driving them to show them houses they can't get pre-approved for. So you want to make sure that they get pre-approved. And obviously, I'm telling you this. Don't say I don't want to waste any time driving around if you can't get pre-approved. The biggest thing is to say is number one, let's get you in touch with a real estate with a licensed lender in the area, so that way we know what price range you want to be in. Because I want to make sure that number one, we're looking in the price range you want to be in. Number two, you need to be pre-approved because if you're not, and we show you a house that you love, by the time you get pre-approved, that house may be gone. So I want you to be pre-approved so that way you're in the position to write an offer if we come across a house that you really like. Down to uh, paragraph 5, I'm going to perform the terms of this contract with a reasonable skill and care for you. I have a fiduciary responsibility to you to do the absolute best I can for you. And obviously, I'm going to seek a price and terms acceptable to you. You're going to have the final say on absolutely everything. Skipping down to section 6. Again, as of August 20, August, what am I saying? As of August 21st, or I think it was August 21st, 2024, we have to ask for our commission on the offer. So prior to that, August 17th, 2024 is the date. Prior to August 17th, 2024, the listing would say how much commission they're offering the buyer's agent. So it could be a percentage, it could be a flat fee. Most of the time it was 3% is what we saw, or 2.5% or 2%. But regardless, they used to be able to put the percent that they were offering to the buyer's agent on the listing. They don't do that anymore. So on page 4 of the residential real estate contract is where we're going to actually write on the contract what we were asking them to pay as far as paying me, your real estate professional. So on line 80, I always am going to try to get them to pay me 3% of the final sales price. It doesn't mean that if they're not offering 3%, that I'm not going to still work with you. If they're offering 2.5% or 2%, that's fine. But the goal is I'm always going to ask them for 3%. Just I'm being upfront about that. In line 82, there's a Remax Heritage Administration Commission of $395. So what I'm telling them when I get to this section is uh, there's an administration commission in place of $395 with my office. So this is where they're going to audit all the paperwork done in this transaction, make sure all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted, to make sure everything's done in line, to make sure everything's done correctly for the state and in general on this transaction. So this is our office backing our transaction. I do not do any retainer, but you have the option to offer to have a retainer in place. But me personally, there's no retainer, and the only way that you're going to pay this $395 is in the event that we close on our transaction and you actually find a home. This right here, we put 60 on both these. This is in the event that say that we've went through this 6 months on this agreement, and following this 6 month agreement, you purchase a home within 60 days of this agreement expiring. If you purchase a home that I showed you, I would have the option to pursue a commission. But that being said, and this is just Shane talking to you. This has nothing to do with what we're going to explain to the client. I always say I don't like leaving contracts blank on this. My office does not like me leaving blanks on contracts, so I always put 60 here because they don't want me to leave it blank. But between me and you, me, Shane, you, the buyer, I'm not gonna. I would never pursue that. I've been doing this business built on relationships, and I would not be in the business very long at all if I went around just trying to pursue something like this. So I've never heard of it happening. I've never pursued this, but I just do not like to leave blanks on a real estate contract or contract in general. These next 2 pages are going over all those relationships we explained on the Missouri Brokers Disclosure Form. This is just reiterating everything and explaining in big detail everything you would want to know. So I'm going to send a copy of this to you after we get done signing it. So that way you're welcome to read that on your own. Section 8, they really want you to know what we do and do not practice. So everything checked, yes, we do practice. So I'm legally allowed to perform all these uh, for you in the state of Missouri. Item 9, Cost of services obtained from outside sources. This is just letting you know that I'm not going to order any inspections, any appraisals, anything at all that costs you $1. I'm not going to order it unless you tell me to. Item 10, disclosure of broker's role. So as long as they are listed with another company and you're just representing your buyer, this is where I'm going to say, again, I'm a designated agent for you in this transaction. The only way that would change is if you purchased a home that was listed by me. In the event that that were the case, I would shift to being a transaction broker, but you're purchasing a home that's listed by another company. They have their own realtor. I'm a designated agent just for you. Item 11, buyer's identity. They're going to know your name, but I'm not going to disclose anything that would hinder you in a transaction. They'll know your name, but I'm not going to tell them very much else about you. Item 12, other potential buyers. That's just stating that the houses that I'm showing to you, I still legally can show to other clients that I am working with. If I'm showing you a house, I can still show it to my other clients. Non-assignment of the contract. So item 13, this contract is between you and the brokerage. We cannot assign this to a third party. Item 14, franchise disclosure. We do click that box. We are a member of a franchise of Remax. So Remax Heritage is a franchise of Remax, the big Remax. So each office is independently owned and operated. And there's a form that we're going to go over that talks specifically about that. Item 15, legal and professional advice. I'm not an attorney or a CPA or any other real type of professional that you would need advice on other than real estate. I'm your real estate professional. So if you have a tax or legal question, I just recommend that you contact the appropriate party. 16, the entire agreement. So the agency contract constitutes the entire agreement between the parties. Any prior agreements pertaining thereto, whether oral or written, have been merged and integrated into this contract. So there shall be no modifications of any of the terms of this contract unless such modification has been agreed to in writing, signed by all parties. So the only way that we're going to be able to make any changes to this contract is, again, there's a form called the change or revision of buyer agency agreement. And so so if we need to extend something or we need to make any changes, we can do it with that form signed by you, me, and my broker. Item 17, this is very, very important. And I always belabor this point with my client. So buyers, whenever there's scammers out there that literally watch credit reports that just see when somebody's applying for a home loan, or if they know that you're in a real estate contract by looking to see if you're getting quotes for home insurance or whatever. If scammers come across, they're always looking for ways to scam people, and especially in something like a real estate transaction where money is being exchanged. You may be a target for cyber criminals. And so this is where I'm going to tell you, you will not be wiring any money to anybody at all. Okay. Nobody's going to be calling you to wire them any money, whether by phone, text, email, whatever. Nobody's going to be reaching out to you to wire them any money. So if you hear any of that, let me know first off. Do not do anything. Do not wire any money unless you're talking to me and I'm telling you to do that from my title company. And my title company gal is literally telling you to wire money. Do not do that. So again, nobody's going to be reaching out to you to wire any money. I say this like 5 times, and it's also in writing again. Forgive me. I have a cold. It's also on our franchise disclosure as well, where it talks about cyber protection, but do not wire any money to anybody at all. Belabor that point. And the last section, the last page is just me signing off on this, the buyer signing off on this. We put in here Remax Heritage, and then the buyer's information, their address, their phone number, their email, and then you put your name on here. So, or agent's name. So this is where you're saying, this is where my broker designates me to be your agent. And we're going to have the broker sign this. David can either e-sign it, or if you go to our front desk, Kelly, Carrie, myself, we can get you the stamp for David just to stamp his signature on there. So if you have any questions about this, again, guys, I'm making these videos just so that way if you're in a pinch and I'm not available to answer questions or walk you through it, you can pull up this video and know how to, number one, fill it out. Number two, explain this contract to your client. So if you have any questions, you can always call me at 816-263-2836, and I'm always happy to help.